Mrs. Minjiba Felicia Ateli Nee Karibo Ikiriko was born on November 13, 1936 to Mark Karibo Ikiriko and Ere Mark Karibo Nee Korubo. Her father was a King's College old boy and a pharmacist, and her mother a housewife. Minjiba's life was a symphony of brilliance, grace and purpose. A proud alumna of the prestigious Queen's College, Lagos, she stood out early as a gifted mind. Her academic journey led her across continents from Lagos to London, where she earned her first degree, and onward to North America, where she completed her master's in library science at the University of Western Ontario, Canada. She later refined her expertise at Loughborough College in the United Kingdom. These academic milestones made her the first indigenous professional librarian of the eastern region of Nigeria, the second female Kalabari graduate, and the third female graduate from River State. Her professional journey began in 1960 at the Eastern Regional Central Library in Enugu. She served as a senior cataloger at the Eastern Nigeria Library Board, then as librarian for the River State Library Service. She went on to become senior sub-librarian at the River State University of Science and Technology and was later appointed college librarian at the River State College of Education. Minjiba was also a gifted writer and contributor to Nigerian literature. She received the first prize at the Nigerian Festival of Arts Short Story Competition in 1951 and the first prize in the New York Herald Tribune essay writing competition for her essay titled The World We Want in 1955. She was then a student in Queen's College, Yaba, Lagos. This achievement led to her being invited to the United States, where she had coffee with former American President Dwight D. Eisenhower and had televised debates in America with other teenagers representing their own countries. She was the first Nigerian delegate of this great gathering of brilliant and extraordinary teenagers from all over the world.
Eva-Karina Lehtinen from Finland.
Participating in tonight's discussion are 4 students from 4 different countries, all of whom have very strong ideas on this subject of whether or not American children have too much freedom.
Well, as Eva said, I think in some cases American children don't have enough freedom. They are not allowed to show up their individual qualities. You know, every girl thinks it's fashionable to go dating, and some girls even don't speak the truth about dates, and they think it's fashionable to tell lies about going on dates during weekends, when as a matter of fact they sat at home all the time.
Well, why do you suppose they said they had dates when they didn't?
Because it was the fashion and they weren't free to express their own opinion. They wanted to be in the know. And did you notice that the teachers and the parents didn't seem to mind how the children behave to them? I think if they don't mind, then American children don't have too much freedom. After all, it depends on the reaction of the adults, and the grown-ups here don't seem to mind a bit.
In 2014, an American professor, Catherine Bishop, published the book The World We Want on these great legends, in which Minjiba featured. It was launched in Sydney, London and New York respectively. She was proudly represented by her children and grandchildren in London and New York. In 1958, she won the Professor Poetry Prize from the University of Ibadan. Her poem, Superstition, was featured in the anthology Read and Wake, published by Heinemann in 1964.
I know that when a grumbling old woman is the first thing I meet in the morning, I must rush back to bed and cover my head. That wandering sheep on a sultry afternoon are really men come from the dark graves to walk in light, in mortal sight. That when my left hand or eyelid twitches, or when an owl hoots from a nearby tree, I should need pluck. It means bad luck. that drink spilled goes to ancestral spirits, that witches dance in clumps of bananas, that crumbs must be left in pots and plates until the morn, for babes unborn, that it's wrong to stand in the doorways at dusk, for ghosts must pass, they have right of way, that when a hidden root trips me over, fault's not in my foot, it's an evil root, that when I sleep with feet towards the door, I'll not long befit, I know it, yes, I know it.
Her Excellence earned her a Rockefeller Foundation Fellowship to study in the United Kingdom, where she gained the associateship of the Library Association and became a chartered librarian. She was the first Nigerian scholar awarded with this scholarship. Minjiba served as chairlady of the Nigerian Library Association in Rivers State and was a council member of the National Universities Commission from 1982 to 1986. Mrs. Minjiba Ateli also served in various positions within Rivers State, like the Rivers State Council for Arts and Culture, Rivers State Advisory Council on Education. She was a life member of the Women's Corona Society, a member of Women in Nigeria, a local secretary of the Mothers Union, the 6th Kengema Siri, a member of the Rivers State Library Board, the Rivers State Council of Arts and Culture, and a council member at Usman Danfodio University in Sokoto. Until her final years, she remained active with Ladefik, a wellness group founded by the late Ambassador Mrs. Nee Karibo. She lived with spirit and song, devoted to the Christ Church Choir and the Chief Wokoma choral voices. In 1962, she married Frederick Sotonye Ateli, MFR, a distinguished civil servant and private secretary to Dr. Michael Okpara, the then premier of the Eastern region. He was a permanent secretary for most of his working career in the old River State government. Their union was one of mutual support and deep commitment to service and community. Their marriage was blessed with 5 beautiful children: Karibo Ateli, Amiediki Emmanuel Judgewell, Boma Fiberesima, Daso Ateli, and Amoni Spief. Also 3 wonderful sons-in-law and 1 daughter-in-law: Emmanuel Judgewell, Gogo Fiberesima, Nate Spief, and Esther Ateli.
My mother was just an extraordinary woman.
Mom was not only our mother, but she was also our friend and indeed my best friend.
You know, Mommy was an only child, so growing up, I think 5 of us, my brother Karibo, me, Boma, Amoni, Daso, were like her friends, you know, and Mommy will almost wrestle you to the ground. You know, she was our playmate. She was a friend. She was a teacher. She was a mentor. She was mother.
She was brilliant. She had a way with English, and we cut the bud from her. For example, as kids, when she would use a big word and we'd ask her, "Mom, what does that mean?" She'd say, "Go and look in the dictionary and find out for yourself," and encouraged us to be curious, intellectually especially. And we cut the reading bud because our house as a librarian was full of books.
She was very intentional about everything. You could say she was dramatic, you know, and I think, you know, as I put in my tribute for her, that I am a lot like her when it comes to drama, but we loved her drama. We looked forward to her drama. She was so fun. She was full of humor. She saw humor in everything.
She had a funny bone, as we say, and she was hilarious in private. She would mimic her friends and tell us stories and just set us all laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing. And she was such an easy person to love.
So she was very, very practical. She was non-judgmental. She was cerebral, and she was a creative. She loved love. She was a romantic. She was a poet. She was just everything. My mom knew everything about everything. She could discuss about Donald Trump today, and she could tell you about Kalabari tradition and history tomorrow.
She was also very widely traveled, and I think when I was like 13 and the rest of my siblings were very young, she decided that it was time for us to see the world, and packed us all up, and off we went to Europe for the very first time, left the country, and did a kind of European tour. I think it was London, Amsterdam, Rome, Paris, Zurich, and that was a learning experience, because Nigeria is not the only place in the world. We have to see how others live to appreciate our own people.
Mommy was also frugal. She would keep all her money, and then you would go and ask her for a loan. Mom would give you, but then she will make sure you tell her when you pay back. A week to the time, she will tell you, okay, I'm here. Your loan is up next week. Are you getting the money ready? And God save you if you don't pay her.
In spite of her status and high intelligence, she always taught us to remain humble, and would always say to us, you must be able to speak with princes and paupers with the same respect and with the same appreciation, and dine with kings and queens and beggars with the same panache, if you wish.
Mommy was, such a woman of high moral standards and integrity. Her word was her bond. She would not deliberately go and commit anything. The Rumala Road policemen and all that knew her, because perchance she forgets her driving license, and you stop and you say, Madam, bring bribe. She said, oh, I forgot my license, so I need to go to the station, so I'll make a statement about it. And they're like, Madam, just give us something. And she said, no, I'm not giving you anything. Let us just go to the station. My mom was refunded her train ticket to Kano back in the days, because they put somebody else in the first class coach with her, and she thought it was wrong. She wrote a letter to the federal government at that time and copied, I think, the minister or whoever was in charge. They came, apologized to my mom in her house, and refunded her. This was like 1978 or 1980. She was that person. She would follow her fight to the end. Don't start a fight with mom, she will follow it to the very end. I just miss mom so much. She was, yeah, I miss her.
My grandma was and is an unforgettable woman. The sense of self, helping hand, and tough love necessary to raise such a family. She really looked after us, had deep care for us, and uniquely prioritized every member. Whether it was moisturizing between each toe when we were young kids, staying to watch over us the entire summer so my mum could go back home. At times, she was the only person who could contend with her grandchildren. For example, chasing my mischievous brother back and forth to the point of his exhaustion, not hers, till we understood it's Big Mummy's world, and we are simply living in it. A lesson well learned, in fact. This was among one of many. She let us know, she made us grow. We will continue to do so in her honor. From watching songs of praise together every night, taking us with her to Debenhams 5 times a week, eating, as we called them, Big Mummy's type of biscuits, developing both my cheesecake habit and me as an adult. She took me to my first day at boarding school and was so invested in my education, which she has impacted in more ways than she knew. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been so driven, so keen with academics, or inspired in poetry classes. And without her, I could definitely never be where I am today. Now, pursuing medicine, thanks in large part by her wit, smarts, and genetics, of course. There are infinite reasons why we call her Big Mummy. She was our mother figure too. The small in size, a mum to us all, and with the biggest, most loving heart you'd ever seen.
Sisi Minjiba, as I call her, was my cousin. She was one of the first female that went to university in the Kalabari kingdom. Herself and her program, Dr.'s wife, the two of them. I did not only admire them, I adored them. And they were so inspirational to many girls in the Kalabari area. So I said I must be like her. And she just took me in as a sister. She was such a gift to the family, to the Ikiriko family.
On the 19th day of May 2025, our beloved Minjiba ended her earthly sojourn. Mother, grandmother, brilliant scholar and educationist, her extraordinary legacy lives on.